Let's talk about the Nuke event in Call of Duty. I'm joined here by Richie Bracamonte, and we're going to go over how odd the rollout's been so far, what some of the leaks and rumors are pointing to in the future, and I don't know if we think it's even going to happen at this point. This episode is brought to you by Daylight Savings. Daylight Savings, screw your sleep schedule. All right, Richie, let's talk about what's been happening so far, because it's kind of odd.
It is odd. We're getting a lot of mixed messages from Call of Duty over on Twitter about this whole zombie outbreak and possibly leading to some sort of bigger event like the Nuke. The next season will end April 20th, and that's our latest date, like our big anchor date to see if something happens. But at this point, it's sort of mixed messages between ending the zombies outbreak event and the future of Warzone.
Yeah, how freaking weird is that the zombie event ended before the zombies spread on the Warzone map? I'm trying to figure out what they were attempting to accomplish with that, other than maybe push people to buy Cold War and play the Outbreak mode in Cold War. But you would think that their main mode involving zombies would tie into Warzone, where the zombies are spreading. They've also just done a lot of really weird stuff. Like, one week they tweeted that zombies were leaving the ship, but the zombies didn't leave the ship for an entire week. And then just this week, they tweeted, enemies both living and undead are all around the shipwreck. How many can you find? No, they aren't. So, like, that was tweeted out this week. The zombies already moved to the prison, and then they're going to the hospital, and they keep removing the challenge machines from places they've already been. And by the way, like, so far the zombie event has pretty much come down to a zombie challenge machine moving a couple hundred yards in any given direction, like every 2 weeks or something like that. So the rollout of this season and supposedly what's leading up to a Nuke event has been slow and bizarre, and starting to actually wonder if they're going to do much this season other than just roll out like an LTM at the very end between season 2 and season 3, which, as you mentioned, given a 10-week run of seasons, should happen sometime mid-April.
This whole Nuke event's been rumored for almost a year now. Aaron, I found a video file of me capturing footage of the dam before the Nuke happened, and that was dated last June. This whole Nuke event has been teased forever.
So about that, Activision Blizzard's Chief Revenue Officer, Brandon Snow, just did a really interesting interview with Inverse. There's some things that he was saying that made me think that either the Nuke event is going to happen like in Season 3, or maybe some of these events are a little bit further out than we think. One thing he said was, in the upcoming seasons, you're going to see some really cool new stuff that Warzone has never done before. He said seasons, not season. So I don't know, maybe he's just really well media trained and he's hiding, what he means here. But he didn't say this season you're going to see this stuff. He said seasons, which makes me think they have stuff planned out for the next couple of seasons that they're not ready for just yet. He then followed that up by saying something along the lines of, if we were to check back with each other in about 4 to 5 weeks, we might be able to speak a little bit more specifically. 4 to 5 weeks is, again, mid-April, when we're expecting the Season 2, Season 3 changeover. So what this is saying to me is that this is going to be a really slow roll season. I don't know if a lot's going to happen in Season 2. It looks like they're not even ready to talk about a lot of these events until the beginning of Season 3. So I'm now starting to wonder if more is going to happen in Season 3 and Season 4. Okay, so there's a whole other thing that we should talk about here, which is the way that this is being marketed. This Nuke event is being marketed in typical Treyarch fashion, and what they like to do is they like to tease things with alternate reality games. They sent this giant projector. I'm going to hold it up here.
You took to the trail quickly, firing up old projectors and shining a light on classified intelligence.
They sent that giant projector to us before they rolled out Cold War, and we didn't really know what to do with it, and it was like an announcement that was going to happen anyway. So that's very classic Treyarch. They've been sending these teases about the gulag to different YouTubers right now, indicating maybe that the zombies are evolving. So here's the problem with that. The Modern Warfare crowd doesn't really care about alternate reality games. There's a very hardcore zombies fan base that Treyarch has that love this stuff, and they love all these little teases, but they seldom lead up to anything more than just an official announcement, which is what the vast majority of Modern Warfare players care about. Also, Warzone is free to play, so the people who are playing Warzone aren't really dialed in on these little ARGs. So another example of what they did when they sent me that projector was Pawn Takes Pawn, which was this like giant sprawling like mystery that happened across the internet that wound up showing that like Bowman's kid was still alive, which was Ice Cube's child in the game. And then they did nothing with it.
I forgot about that, Aaron. Like, that was such a big, like, they fluffed up all of that stuff for nothing really. Like, I was like, what's the bottom line here with Pawn Takes Pawn? And it's like, oh yeah, the bottom line is Cold War's coming out. Like, what are they doing with, I don't know. I totally forgot about that whole Bowman thing. And because it led to nowhere. Like, I thought he might be in the campaign somehow. I mean, it takes place in the 80s, well after the first Bowman, played by Ice Cube, but they didn't run with that, at least as far as I know. Nothing in any big capacity, but they really do like to Treyarch loves to play these like mind games. It kind of spawns from like people who love to dig around for Easter eggs and zombies, but that bled into like the whole Cold War thing, and I don't know if everyone's buying it. To me, it was just kind of like, I'm behind again. I gotta catch up and try to put this together through every YouTuber who got this care package. Like,
and it's just kind of another example of why the Modern Warfare audience and the Cold War audience don't really belong together. This is not something that the Modern Warfare audience is really going to gravitate towards. So again, like, we get a lot of user comments about how they're throwing Modern Warfare audience under the bus for the Cold War audience. It's just another example. Like, the Modern Warfare audience, they just want to have fun. They just want to enjoy the Modern Warfare aspects of Warzone. And they just, they just want the zombie event to be better than it already is, more along the lines of Haunting of Verdansk. They really need to pick up the pace on the zombie event in the Warzone map. Nobody really wants this like giant slow rollout with nothing much happening until the end of the season, except for maybe some very, very hardcore like zombies fans who like following these ARGs. But that's not the mass audience. Okay, so that's what's going on so far. In summary, we know that the next time that an event could happen, such as the Nuke event, will be mid-April. We've talked a little bit about the weird, slow rollout of zombies and the mismatch of audience. Now it's time to talk about what we actually do know about the Nuke event and all the leaks that have been coming out lately.
So for weeks now, we've heard a lot of data mined audio samples from other game modes. Some include the exfil mode that already happened, but others are kind of mysterious, and they come from people like Captain Price and all these new game modes that sound like they take place in a zombie infested post-nuclear aftermath of Verdansk. So it's all a matter of when, but these callouts are pretty specific about plague zones. You hear Captain Price in the voiceover saying things like, it's your last chance to save Verdansk, and Verdansk is lost. Like, you can either win or lose, and it's all via a big nuclear blast. It sounds like this mode, you can save Verdansk by, stopping the nukes. And I don't know, it sounds like a big mix of like a Verdansk ending game mode. Also with these audio leaks, we're seeing some other game modes that might be kind of fun and more of a distraction, but like, we're talking like car races or other sort of obstacle modes that require a helicopter or some sort of vehicle. They sound fun, but that's probably all going to come also later towards the end of the season, or at least the second half. So up next, we have some comments from you guys with some constructive feedback for all things Call of Duty. Our first comment here from Dylan C on YouTube, who says, Warzone needs more events like the Halloween or Rebirth ones, where there's either new weather, time of day, a new map in general, on top of the event where you can earn rewards. This zombies event feels lazy compared to those events. I'm inclined to agree here, because something like time of day, it's sort of a change that sounds subtle, but it's so cool. I love like nighttime or snow-covered maps, something to change the environment.
What's more zombie than nighttime, right? You see their glowing eyes better. It really like enhances the event. It's what the Haunting of Verdansk did. Definitely a missed opportunity. And again, the only thing going on right now is a zombie challenge machine is moving a couple 100 yards every 2 weeks. It's like, come on, that's not enough.
Yeah, it's a little lacking. Hopefully it's just cooking to something bigger and better, but kind of a slow roll to start with.
We're at low simmer right now. There's not enough happening.
Right. We need a hard boil right now. Let's go. Our next comment over on YouTube is from Player One, who says, not everyone likes Battle Royale. What the COD developers need to do is allow a large-scale TDM, domination, hardpoint, and other respawn-style games into Verdansk. How about official death races where the squads battle it out in vehicles trying to make one lap around the entire map? Aaron, I love this idea. People already do this with or without being told to, and it's not a mode yet, but that'd be so fun. The vehicle racing is always fun in Warzone. They kind of tweak the cars a little bit with their turning radius, but even then, it's still fun to just cruise around in a car. It's always been fun to run over people. Anything with cars in Warzone is always okay by me.
And if those audio leaks are true, the first set of audio leaks that Richie talked about, it basically indicated we are going to get races. So I think we're going to get the fun side of things. The side where they may have dropped the ball is when Modern Warfare launched and they had modes like Ground War and they had the Ground War maps set on the same map as Warzone. I kind of thought they had a chance to knock out Battlefield for the first time in a long time. Like, they could have kept expanding to larger big team battles. And they have created some new areas, like my least favorite map, Promenade, in Ground War. But they really, really could take that further if they wanted to keep developing in Modern Warfare. This is another way that they could keep the Modern Warfare audience engaged, is just take Ground War and just rotate it around the Verdansk map randomly. Something like that would be so much fun. And, like, who cares if it's balanced? It's just fun to battle on that map.
In game, the map can just keep pushing from one location to another, like during one match.
Yeah, and they're already doing this with Kingslayer trios and a couple of other ones. So they are doing some of these modes, but they really need to do them for the Modern Warfare crowd and focus back on the Modern Warfare crowd. And to me, that says do Ground War in more places. That's how you compete against Battlefield this year. Our next comment here comes from Super Cooper. They could have done much more with Spec Ops. I would have liked more missions to play, though it felt half-assed. The old Modern Warfare 2 and 3 had lots of missions compared to the new Modern Warfare. This ties into another comment by Phelium. Good. Hopefully the community is a step closer to realizing the obvious. Activision doesn't give an F about their consumers, other than their yearly money injection for a half-assed Call of Duty. Both of these comments touched on half-assed modes, which does make me wonder what a full-assed mode looks like in Call of Duty. I feel like Modern Warfare was probably a full-assed game. I mean, it was like well planned out for an entire year, if that's what everybody's getting at.
Yeah, I would say it's a full-ass game.
You're right. Spec Ops was a side mode that wasn't as good. Another way that they could keep developing the Modern Warfare community is take things like Outbreak, which they just did in Cold War. Outbreak is such a Spec Ops kind of mode, they could have just put that into Modern Warfare also, like make a zombie-infested Spec Ops mode, or just do that on the Warzone map the way that they probably should have, you know? These are ways that if they wanted to keep the Modern Warfare audience engaged and not feeling like they got cast aside for the Cold War audience, they're areas where they could keep improving and hold on to their Modern Warfare audience.
I will die on the hill for supporting Modern Warfare 2019. There's so many ways they could do it. I don't know if they will, but this is just another one. I feel like Spec Ops could have used some work. I mean, half-assed is a pretty common comment. Like, it was half-baked at first. It wasn't even ready, I feel, and it was crammed with overpowered enemies and like impossible objectives unless you knew exactly what you were doing. And there was fun to be had once it got fixed, and I ended up doing every challenge anyway. But yeah, compared to like Modern Warfare 2 or 3 Spec Ops, it was pretty half-assed. A really cool part was how it introduced the whole Verdansk map. That was something that we Spec Op players had an edge on. It's like, oh, when Warzone and Verdansk was launched, it's like, I know my way around this. You know, for a few weeks, I had to jump on people. But overall, I would say, yeah, in the full ass game that is Modern Warfare, Spec Ops was a little blemish on the butt cheek there. It wasn't perfect.
This is a great analogy. We're definitely running with this in future episodes.
I'm with it. Our next comment comes from Alejandro, who says, "Hi, my name is Alejandro, and I've been COD-free for 3 months now. I feel great." This one hurts, Aaron, but you know, it's a way for people to, it's how people play the game. This person could either just walk away from Call of Duty, wait for Battlefield, wait for the next Call of Duty, or do what we do sometimes, just take a break, you know, walk away for a few months. So Alejandro, enjoy your time off, come back if you want, and see what happens with this whole nuke thing, because that's what we're all waiting for. And I know you clicked on that video to check it out too, so I know you're interested.
So speaking of the next Battlefield or the next Call of Duty, the question that we would like to throw to you out there is, if the next Battlefield or the next Call of Duty is World War II themed or retro themed, is that enough for you? We were recently watching a video by Drifter, who, by the way, is having some health concerns, so please go over to his channel and wish him the best, who was talking about all the evidence that Sledgehammer might be delivering another retro game. So in that case, let us know if that changes what you're going to do next. Make sure to head on over to GameSpot.com and GameSpot's YouTube page. That's where we'll be posting these videos and covering the rollout of this Nuke event, which will hopefully happen mid-next month. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone.